Lesson 3, Sprint Planning. In the last lesson, you learned about user stories in the product backlog. Now that the initial set of features and high-level requirements for the product's been defined, it's time to start sprint planning. In this lesson, you'll learn more about sprints and who participates in sprint planning. Welcome to the Scrum Team Room. This is where the members of our project team get together to collaborate. Let's meet some of the members of our team who will be seeing a lot of each other in this room. For Agile projects following Scrum, there are 3 defined roles on the project team: the product owner, the Scrum team, and the Scrum Master. The product owner, like the name implies, is responsible for owning the overall product. Part of this responsibility includes prioritizing the user stories that make up the backlog. The Scrum team is made up of those who do the work. In traditional terms, a Scrum team might be made up of programmers, technical writers, graphic designers, testers, and so on. The last role is the Scrum Master, who is responsible for facilitating the work of the Scrum team and ensuring the team adheres to Scrum principles. It's important to note that the Scrum Master does not manage the Scrum team, but only facilitates the Scrum process. Notice the absence of a project manager. This is intentional on Agile projects using Scrum. Functions typically performed by a project manager are divided between the product owner, the Scrum team, and the Scrum Master. Now that the various roles are defined, let's look at exactly what a sprint is and how the various roles participate in sprint planning. As we learned in the previous lessons, one of the goals of Agile projects is to deliver business value early and often. Sprints are designed to fulfill this requirement. A sprint is a short development cycle, usually 2, 3, or 4 weeks long. Sprints longer than 4 weeks are discouraged. The goal of a sprint is to be able to deliver a potentially shippable product or set of features at the end of the sprint. If the web design project described in our case study was designed and developed using a traditional waterfall approach, it would likely take months before all of the design documents were completed by the business analyst. Only when those documents are complete, describing every possible feature of the website, would the team actually developing the website even get to begin their work. Then, the team developing the website would finish all their work before it's handed off to testing. Testing would then try to ensure there are as few issues as possible before deploying the new website. From start to finish on a large website, it would take many months, or more likely over a year. With sprints, even sprints very early in the project are designed to produce shippable features as soon as possible. So all the phases done in a traditional project are done every single sprint. One of the reasons for the short sprints is to make sure the project team is really focused on what the customer needs the most. Another reason is to deliver new, usable features to the customer on a regular basis. In Agile, you deliver something on the delivery date every time. If there are incomplete, unusable items at the end of the sprint, the deadline is not moved out, but instead the incomplete items are de-scoped and moved to the backlog. Once a user story is de-scoped, it may or may not be assigned to future sprints, but at least the customer gets the product on the date promised with some usable features. As we learned earlier, all the features needed for a product make up the product backlog. As the products develop, the product backlog will also include any defects or bugs that need to be addressed. The product owner is responsible for prioritizing the product backlog. This is done by remaining in constant contact with the users in order to know what they want the most. As each new sprint begins, the product owner provides a list of high priority items to the stakeholders for discussion. During the sprint planning meeting, the project stakeholders review the list of product backlog items presented by the product owner. The team will collectively decide what will get assigned to the current sprint. Often, a sprint will have a specific theme or goal. For instance, for our case study, there might be a sprint theme surrounding the different department needs, around graphic design, around usability, etc. During the sprint planning process, the Scrum team is responsible for deciding how many items they feel they can successfully deliver during the course of the sprint. Most people who have worked on project teams for any length of time have experienced projects where the project manager, sales manager, or product owner have informed the team of the features they will deliver and by when. This frequently happens without discussing the requirements with the project team, leading to missed deadlines. In Agile projects following Scrum, the Scrum team gets to decide what they can deliver instead. The idea of allowing the Scrum team to decide what they will deliver in a given time frame may make managers a little uncomfortable, but Agile is focused on self-organizing teams who are motivated. After some practice, the Scrum team's estimates are often more accurate than those resulting from weeks of requirements design and complex estimating techniques. For the first sprint of this project, the product owner and stakeholders have decided that the theme is around customers being able to recognize who AutoWorld is, where it's located, and how to make contact. Based on this theme, the group has decided to address the following 3 user stories. As the marketing manager, I want the website to use our established style guide and graphics so customers automatically recognize AutoWorld when they see it. As a customer, I need to be able to find the lot location on a map so I can navigate to AutoWorld. As a customer, I need to be able to contact AutoWorld to ask questions not answered on the website. Now that the user stories for the sprint have been selected, the sprint planning process breaks the stories down into the individual tasks required to implement the stories, and the team estimates how long each task will take to complete. Let's take a look at what some of the tasks might be to implement the user stories selected for the first sprint in our case study. As the marketing manager, I want the website to use our established style guide and graphics so customers automatically recognize AutoWorld when they see it. This user story might include the following task: design a web page template using the approved CSS and style guide. Create a home page based on the template. Add body copy with approved branding message. Add approved logo. Let's look at the second user story. As a customer, I need to be able to contact AutoWorld to ask questions not answered on the website. This user story would probably include at least the following task: add contact page, add body copy including the phone number, and add contact form. And finally, the third user story: as a customer, I need to be able to find the lot location on a map so I can navigate to AutoWorld. This user story would probably include at least the following task: add address to contact page, add map to contact page. Now that the tasks have been discussed, agreed on, and estimated, instead of a manager assigning tasks, the team members volunteer for different tasks and are ready to begin working. Our Scrum team includes Jenny, Lynn, and Pat. Since Jenny has the most experience with cascading style sheets, she volunteered to take the task, design a web page template using approved CSS and style guide. Lynn has a lot of experience with graphic design, so he volunteered to work on the logo. Pat assisted in the marketing department with a couple of projects in the past and is familiar with AutoWorld's branding, so she volunteered to start work on the body copy for the homepage of the website. Notice that all of the tasks in the sprint backlog haven't been assigned. This allows team members to volunteer for additional tasks only when they complete a task. This ensures that team members don't inadvertently volunteer for too many tasks up front and get into a situation where they can't complete all of the work they volunteered for while other team members finish their work before the sprint is over. Now that Jenny, Lynn, and Pat have each volunteered for tasks to get them started, they can go get to work. In the next lesson, we'll look at some common Scrum team interactions during the course of a sprint.